I'm Chloe Carter, and 6 weeks ago, I was just an ordinary piano teacher trying to pay rent on a small apartment. My life was simple until one midnight phone call changed everything. My grandfather, Henry Carter, a man the world knew as a billionaire businessman, but I knew as the only person who truly believed in me, had died in a terrible accident. The next morning, his lawyer called us in. I walked into that office expecting a formal meeting, maybe a small inheritance, never imagining what I was about to hear. My grandfather had left me everything, $7 billion. The room fell silent before erupting in anger. My parents stared at me with pure entitlement. My brother slammed his fist on the table. "That money belongs to us," they shouted. I answered with one word that changed my life. No. That same night, they threw me out. By sunrise, I was unlocking the gates to my grandfather's mansion, completely unaware of who was waiting inside. Before that night, my life was far from glamorous. I wasn't wealthy, powerful, or even noticed. I was simply Chloe Carter, 26 years old, working as a piano teacher at a small downtown music studio. My days were filled with scales, beginner songs played out of rhythm, and the occasional gifted student whose hands moved across the keys effortlessly. My paycheck barely covered rent, groceries, and the old used car I hoped wouldn't stop working on the highway. Still, I wasn't unhappy. I found happiness in simple things. The way a child smiled after learning their first song. Quiet evenings spent with sheet music while I practiced until my neighbors knocked on the wall. My parents never understood any of it. To them, success meant executive offices, luxury cars, and social status. My love for teaching music was just another reason for them to look at me with disappointment. The truth was, I had always felt out of place in my own family. My father, Richard Carter, obsessed over status and business success, only spoke to me when he wanted to criticize something. My mother, Diane, cared more about maintaining appearances and staying connected to wealthy social circles than asking how I was doing. My brother Ethan was the favorite child, spoiled, careless, and always forgiven no matter what he did. The only person who ever made me feel valued was Grandpa Henry. From the time I was young, his mansion wasn't simply a symbol of wealth. It felt like home. I remember running through the marble hallways, paying no attention to the expensive artwork, only hearing Grandpa's laughter behind me. On Sunday afternoons, he would sit beside me at his grand piano, his fingers still smooth and quick despite being in his 70s. He would lean closer and whisper, "Chloe, money can buy you a piano, but it can't buy music. That comes from here." Then, he would gently tap my chest over my racing heart. Those lessons meant far more than music. Grandpa taught me that wealth is a tool, not an identity. While my parents spent their lives trying to impress people, Grandpa carried himself with quiet dignity. He drove the same black sedan for years, wore tailored suits older than I was, and never cared about showing off. I spent more weekends at his mansion than in my own home. We baked cookies in the enormous kitchen, played chess near the fireplace, and walked through the garden where he proudly showed me the roses he planted himself. Most importantly, he listened, really listened whenever I spoke about my dreams. Unlike my parents, he never rolled his eyes. Sometimes I wondered if he knew I never truly fit in with the rest of the family. Maybe he noticed the way my mother reacted whenever I chose staying at his mansion over going on family vacations. He never directly spoke about it, but in the way he smiled at me, I always sensed a promise. "One day, Chloe, you'll understand why I've kept you close." At the time, I believed it simply meant he loved me. I didn't realize it was also a warning. It was a Tuesday evening when the phone rang. I was sitting at my kitchen table grading practice sheets while half listening to the creaking sounds of my old apartment. When I saw unknown number on the screen, I almost ignored it. But something told me to answer. "Miss Carter," a man's voice said, heavy and official. "This is Officer Daniels with the State Highway Patrol. I'm sorry to inform you that your grandfather, Henry Carter, was involved in a collision tonight. His vehicle was hit by a drunk driver." He paused. "He didn't survive." The world around me blurred. My pen slipped from my fingers, leaving ink spread across the page. Didn't survive. My chest tightened as my mind refused to accept it. Grandpa wasn't just alive in my mind. He felt permanent. He was supposed to attend my students' recital next month. He was supposed to call tomorrow and ask if I'd eaten dinner. He couldn't be gone, but he was. The funeral passed in a haze of black clothing and empty sympathy. The mansion that once felt comforting suddenly became a stage for fake emotions. My parents controlled every detail, not out of love, but out of pride. They argued with the funeral director about flower arrangements and criticized the catering service for not being expensive enough. My mother adjusted her pearls and whispered loudly, "Can you believe he drove himself? A billionaire acting like an ordinary man." My father stood nearby with a stiff posture, already calculating numbers in his head. His eyes weren't red from grief. They were focused and restless, thinking about assets, accounts, and investments. Then there was Ethan. My brother leaned against a marble column, scrolling through his phone as if the funeral interrupted his schedule. When I quietly asked if he was okay, he shrugged. "I'll feel better once we know what we're getting." I wanted to scream. How could they stand there honoring Grandpa's life while talking about money? I stood beside the casket, staring at his peaceful face. His hands were folded neatly across his chest. He looked asleep. Quietly, so nobody else could hear me, I whispered, "I'll make you proud, Grandpa. I promise." But as I looked around the room, I realized I was the only one who truly meant it. My aunt and uncle, who hadn't visited him in years, cried loudly whenever cameras were around and stopped the moment photographers left. My parents smiled for sympathy, but their expressions changed whenever someone mentioned Grandpa's fortune. After the service ended, I stayed behind, unable to leave him there. The mansion, the garden, even the piano felt haunted now. And for the first time in my life, I realized how alone I really was. 2 weeks later, I received a call from Michael Turner, my grandfather's lawyer. His voice was calm but serious. "Chloe, your grandfather's will is ready to be read. He requested your presence along with your immediate family. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock at my office." Something about his tone made my stomach tighten. I didn't know it yet, but that meeting would change everything. The following morning, I stood outside Michael Turner's office. The building was an old Victorian house converted into a law office, with dark wooden walls and stained glass windows casting long shadows inside. My hands tightened around the handle of my umbrella. It wasn't raining, but the sky was dark and heavy. Inside, the air smelled faintly of leather and coffee. Michael greeted me with a solemn smile, his silver hair perfectly styled. "Chloe," he said quietly while shaking my hand, "your grandfather spoke about you often. He was proud of you." I swallowed hard. "Thank you." Before I could say anything else, the office door burst open. My parents walked in like they owned the building. My father adjusted his expensive watch sharply, while my mother stepped forward in heels that echoed against the hardwood floor. Behind them came Ethan, wearing sunglasses indoors at 9 in the morning, his shirt half tucked in and a careless smirk across his face. "Let's get this over with," my father said impatiently. "We all know how this works. My father built the empire, and as his only son, I'll be running it now." Michael's polite expression remained steady, though I noticed a flicker in his eyes. He guided us into a conference room where a long oak table waited. I sat beside him while my parents immediately took the seats at the head of the table as if ownership already belonged to them. Ethan dropped lazily into a chair, placing his sneakers near the table edge. Michael cleared his throat, adjusted his glasses, and opened a thick leather folder. Henry Carter was of sound mind when he updated his will last year. He completed cognitive evaluations, and I personally witnessed every signing. There is no question regarding his mental capacity. My father waved impatiently. Yes, just read it." Michael began reading. "I, Henry Carter, being of sound mind and body, declare this to be my final will and testament. To my beloved granddaughter, Chloe Carter, I leave the entirety of my estate, including financial assets, real estate, investments, and holdings valued at approximately $7 billion. The words hung in the room like thunder. I froze, convinced I had heard him wrong. $7 billion. To me. The room exploded instantly. What? My father jumped to his feet so quickly his chair crashed backward. His face turned red, veins standing out along his neck. That's impossible. He would never cut me out. My mother gripped the table tightly. $7 billion to a piano teacher? She knows nothing about handling money. Ethan tore off his sunglasses and slammed his hand against the table. Where's my share? I need funding for my startup. Michael calmly raised his hand. Mr. Carter expected this reaction. He made it very clear that this decision was intentional. He stated that both his son and daughter-in-law were already provided for during his lifetime, and he wanted the fortune to pass solely to Chloe. My father's fists shook with anger. Lies. You manipulated him, Chloe, didn't you? Whispering in his ear while he was old and confused. Tears burned in my eyes as I shook my head. No, I didn't even know he changed the will. I never asked him for anything. Michael picked up a remote control and pressed a button. A large screen lit up on the wall, and suddenly my grandfather appeared on video, seated in his familiar leather chair with his hands folded calmly in front of him. If you are watching this, he said firmly, it means I've passed away. Richard, Diane, Ethan, I love you as family, but I can no longer ignore what you've become. Greed has blinded you. You see me as a source of money instead of a father and grandfather. Then his eyes softened. Chloe is different. She visits because she cares, not because she wants something. She lives with honesty and integrity. She will carry my legacy with dignity. My mother gasped quietly. Ethan muttered under his breath. My father shouted toward the screen. This is manipulation. He wasn't thinking clearly. But Michael interrupted firmly. The will is legally binding. Contesting it would be extremely expensive, and based on the documentation, nearly impossible to win. The anger in my father's eyes when he looked at me sent a chill through my body. This isn't over, Chloe. You think you can go against us? You'll regret it. I sat frozen while Grandpa's words repeated in my head. She will carry my legacy with dignity. At that moment, I realized the inheritance wasn't just money. It was pressure, responsibility, and a test. And my family would do everything possible to take it away from me. That evening, my phone buzzed with a message from my father. Come home, 6 o'clock. We'll settle this as a family. There was no question mark, no request. It was a command. I almost refused to go. Just thinking about returning to that house made my chest tighten. But a small part of me still hoped they simply needed time to calm down. Maybe grief had caused the anger at the lawyer's office. I was wrong. When I arrived, the house felt strangely quiet. The living room, normally used for my mother's cocktail parties, looked more like a corporate meeting room. My father stood beside the fireplace, holding a glass of scotch. My mother sat on the edge of a designer chair, her eyes cold and sharp. Ethan stretched across the sofa with his laptop open, typing rapidly. Sit down, my father ordered. I obeyed, my hands tightly clasped in my lap. His voice sounded calm, but the anger beneath it was impossible to miss. You know what you need to do, Chloe. Sign the estate over to me. I'll manage it properly. You'll receive a generous allowance, 10%. More money than you'll ever need. 10%? I repeated quietly, my voice shaking. That's over $700 million. My mother stepped in smoothly. Enough to buy a mansion, enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life. You don't need the responsibility. Leave that to your father. Ethan slammed his laptop shut. $700 million is more than enough. I need the rest for my company. Grandpa wanted me to succeed. Stop being selfish. The word hit me hard. Selfish? I whispered. Grandpa chose me because I wasn't like this, because I didn't treat him like a bank account. My father's expression darkened. He stepped closer, towering over me. This isn't about choice anymore. It's about family loyalty. Either you sign the papers or you walk out that door with nothing. Do you understand? The room fell silent. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. I thought about my grandfather, his laughter, his advice, the way he always reminded me that money was only a tool. I remembered how he smiled whenever I played piano, not because I was perfect, but simply because I was myself. I lifted my chin. No. The room erupted immediately. My mother jumped to her feet, her voice sharp with anger. You ungrateful child. After everything we've done for you, private schools, lessons, a home, you still dare to go against us? Ethan smirked. Enjoy being rich and alone? You'll come crawling back once you realize money can't replace family. But it was my father's words that hurt the most. His voice lowered into a cold whisper. If you leave this house tonight without signing, Chloe, then you are no longer my daughter. He stared directly at me. Don't come back. Don't call us. And don't expect any help from this family ever again. You'll be dead to us. My breath caught in my throat. Part of me wanted to cry and beg him to take the words back. But another part of me, The part my grandfather had encouraged and protected for years refused to bend. "I think I've been dead to you for a long time," I said quietly. "You never really saw me. You only saw the version you wanted." My father's face twisted with rage. He grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the front door. My mother followed behind, giving orders like a commander. "Pack a bag, 30 minutes. After that, the locks are being changed." I stumbled into my childhood bedroom. The walls still held old recital trophies and faded posters from years ago. My hands shook as I stuffed clothes into a duffel bag. I grabbed my passport, my grandmother's quilt, and the framed photo of Grandpa and me sitting together at the piano. Everywhere I looked, I saw reminders of the girl I used to be and the family I once believed I had. When I stepped back into the hallway, my father was already waiting with crossed arms and cold eyes. He opened the front door and pointed outside. Out. The night air felt freezing as I stepped onto the porch. My bags felt heavier than they really were. My mother's voice followed me outside. "You'll regret this, Chloe. Money won't keep you warm. Family is forever." I turned back toward them, tears filling my eyes, though my voice stayed steady. "Then why did you just throw me away?" The front door slammed shut behind me, and just like that, I was homeless. But I wasn't broken. Inside my pocket was a small brass key engraved with my grandfather's initials, the key to his mansion, the only place that still felt like home. I wrapped my fingers tightly around it. If my family thought they could take everything from me, they were wrong. This was only the beginning. The drive to my grandfather's estate felt endless. My old sedan rattled along the dark road while the headlights cut through the fog. My duffel bag sat piled in the passenger seat, but the only thing I truly held onto was the brass key. Last year, my grandfather had pressed it into my hand with a small smile. "Someday you may need this, Chloe." I never imagined that day would come so soon. When the iron gates of the Carter estate finally appeared, my chest tightened. The gate stood tall against the darkness, with the family crest carved into the center. For a brief moment, I hesitated. Could I really walk into that house without him there? Would it feel empty without his laughter? But then I remembered the sound of my parents slamming the door behind me and the finality in my father's voice. I had nowhere else to go. That mansion was all I had left. The key slid smoothly into the lock. The gate slowly opened, and I drove along the winding driveway lined with old oak trees whose branches almost seemed to welcome me home. When the mansion finally came into view, I stopped breathing for a second. Soft lights glowed through the windows as if the house itself had been waiting for me. I parked in the circular driveway and climbed the front steps. My hand trembled as I turned the key. The lock clicked. The door opened. Immediately, the familiar scent reached me. Lemon polish and cedarwood, the same smell I had known since childhood. I stepped inside. The grand foyer stretched before me, marble floors shining beneath the chandelier overhead. My footsteps echoed loudly through the silence, almost as though the house noticed my return. For a moment, I expected Grandpa to appear at the top of the staircase, reminding me I was late for Sunday dinner. But the silence was overwhelming. "Miss Chloe." I jumped, nearly dropping my bag. A man stepped out from the shadows, tall, silver-haired, dressed in a perfectly pressed uniform. Recognition hit me instantly. "Robert?" My voice cracked slightly. "Robert Hayes." A faint smile appeared on his face, deepening the lines around his kind eyes. "Yes, miss. I worked for your grandfather for over 25 years. His expression softened. "And now, I suppose I work for you." Emotion tightened my throat. I thought everyone would be gone. I thought I'd be alone. Robert shook his head firmly. "Mr. Carter expected trouble. He told me clearly, if anything happens, you protect Chloe. She is the true heir." He left detailed instructions. Tears filled my eyes again. Of course he had prepared for this. Grandpa was always thinking ahead. Robert guided me into the study where a fire was already burning in the fireplace. "I've continued maintaining the house," he explained. "Your grandfather insisted it always remain ready. He said one day you might need sanctuary here." I lowered myself into one of the leather chairs, letting the warmth of the fire reach my cold skin. For the first time that night, I felt safe. But the feeling didn't last long. "What happens now, Robert?" I asked quietly. "My family won't let this go. They already threatened me." His face darkened. "They already came here once after the funeral. They tried taking jewelry and important documents. I stopped them, but Mr. Carter knew they would return. That's why he prepared everything. You'll understand tomorrow. Tomorrow? Robert nodded. Mr. Turner, the lawyer, will visit. There are files, recordings, and letters your grandfather left specifically for you. He built protection around you, Chloe, but you must stay strong. I leaned back, clutching the quilt from my childhood bedroom. Around me, the mansion felt alive. The ticking grandfather clock, the crackling fire, the quiet hum of security systems I hadn't even noticed before. For the first time since the will reading, I felt something stronger than fear. Resolve. If my family wanted a battle, they would quickly learn I wasn't facing them alone. My grandfather's mansion wasn't just a home. It was a fortress, a legacy, and I was ready to protect it. That night, I slept in the guest room I had always used as a child. The sheets were freshly cleaned, and a book I'd left months earlier still rested on the nightstand with the bookmark neatly tucked inside. It felt as if my grandfather had known I would return one day, not as a visitor, but as the person who truly belonged there. The next morning, I woke to voices downstairs. For a split second, panic rushed through me. Had my family already found me? I grabbed my phone and quietly stepped toward the landing, only to see Robert standing at the front door, speaking calmly with someone familiar. "Miss Chloe?" Robert called gently. "It's Mr. Turner." Relief washed over me immediately. Michael Turner stepped inside carrying his briefcase, his expression serious but kind. He looked around the mansion as though he had spent years there. "Your grandfather trusted me with more than his will," he said while placing the case on the dining table. "He trusted me with you." I followed him into the study, where sunlight stretched across the mahogany desk. He opened the briefcase and removed a thick envelope sealed with my grandfather's initials. "He wrote letters for you," Michael explained. "Guidance, instructions, and warnings." My hands trembled as I broke the seal. Inside were neatly typed pages signed in my grandfather's steady handwriting. "Chloe," the letter began, "if you are reading this, then I'm gone. I know your father and mother will come after you. Do not give in. I prepared for this moment." Tears blurred my vision, but I continued reading. "You will not stand alone. I have gathered people who truly care about you, people who will protect you when blood turns against you. Trust them the way you trusted me." Almost on cue, Robert returned with another guest. A woman in her 50s entered wearing a simple cardigan and carrying a folder filled with documents. "This is Dorothy Reynolds," Michael said, "your grandfather's housekeeper for more than 20 years. She's practically family." Dorothy's eyes filled with tears as she hugged me tightly. "Oh, Chloe, you look so much like your mother when she was younger, before greed changed her. Your grandfather adored you." She placed a folder carefully on the table. "These are journals your grandmother kept, records of every visit, every request your father made, and every kindness you showed. They explain exactly why your grandfather made his decision." I opened one slowly. My grandmother's handwriting stretched neatly across the pages. "Richard came again asking for money. When we refused, he stormed out. Chloe arrived later with soup and stayed until Harold's fever finally broke." Each entry felt both painful and comforting at the same time. They were proof of my parents' neglect, but also undeniable evidence of the love between my grandparents and me. Before I could fully process it, another knock sounded at the front door. Robert returned with a tall woman carrying a laptop bag. "This is Rosa Martinez," Michael explained, "your grandfather's business partner. She knows Carter Logistics inside and out." Rosa shook my hand firmly. "Your grandfather asked me to help you understand the company. He wanted you to know not only where the money came from, but how to protect the people who helped build it." She opened her laptop, displaying spreadsheets, charts, and detailed reports. "This isn't just a fortune," she continued. "Hundreds of employees rely on this company. Your grandfather trusted you to protect the values he built it on." Another wave of realization hit me. I wasn't simply inheriting wealth. I was inheriting responsibility for people's lives and futures. By midday, even more allies had arrived. George Patel, the financial advisor who had managed Grandpa's investments for decades, brought binders filled with transparent records showing how carefully everything had been planned. Carlos Ramirez, the estate manager responsible for maintaining the property, revealed upgraded security systems and cameras my grandfather ordered installed after suspecting interference from my father. Then came Judge David Harrison, an old family friend who greeted me with a serious nod. Your grandfather asked me to remain a neutral witness if disputes ever arose. I won't allow his wishes to be manipulated. Soon the room filled with voices, paperwork, records, and evidence. For hours, they explained everything my grandfather had prepared in advance. Every precaution felt like another layer of protection built around me in case I ever fell. When the final binder was closed, I leaned back in complete disbelief. He knew this would happen, I whispered. Michael gently placed a hand over mine. Yes, and he trusted you to be stronger than them. Robert straightened his posture. Your father already came here after the funeral and tried taking jewelry and documents. He won't stop. He'll return, and next time he'll bring the others with him. But this time, Chloe, you'll be prepared. The fire crackled softly in the background as I looked around the room at all the faces surrounding me, loyal, determined, and united. They weren't related to me by blood, but in that moment, they felt more like family than anyone else ever had. I wiped my eyes and stood. If they want to come after me, let them. I'm not running. I won't give up what Grandpa trusted me with. Dorothy squeezed my hand warmly. That's exactly the spirit he hoped for. He'd be proud of you. That night, I lay awake in the master bedroom staring at the carved wooden beams above me. For the first time, I fully understood the weight of my inheritance. It wasn't only about surviving my family's anger. It was about protecting everything my grandfather built and proving I deserved the trust he placed in me. And deep down, I knew the next day would bring the first real test. The following morning, the air felt heavy, almost tense, as though the entire world was waiting for something to happen. Robert stood near the front entrance, shoulders squared like a guard preparing for conflict. Dorothy moved calmly through the kitchen, baking muffins with steady focus as if routine could soften the tension hanging over the mansion. By 9 o'clock, the house was filled with allies. Michael spread legal documents across the dining table, reviewing clauses and signatures. Rosa connected her laptop and displayed financial charts, proving how carefully Grandpa had managed the company empire. Judge Harrison sat near the fireplace, his presence alone commanding authority. I stood in the middle of it all with my heart racing and my palms damp. They're coming, I whispered. Almost immediately, tires crunched against the gravel driveway. Several sleek luxury cars pulled up outside like predators arriving together. My stomach tightened. A loud pounding shook the front door. Open up, Chloe, my father shouted. You've had your little moment. This ends now. Robert glanced toward me. I nodded slowly, forcing myself to breathe steadily. He unlocked the door and pulled it open. My family stormed inside immediately. My father entered first, his face red with anger. My mother followed with visible disgust across her expression. Ethan walked behind them, his eyes filled with greed. This is still our house, my father barked. You have no right to lock us out. I forced myself to stand tall despite my shaking knees. Grandpa left this house to me. Legally and morally, it belongs to me. Ethan laughed bitterly. Stop pretending to be innocent. You manipulated him. He wasn't thinking clearly. Everyone knows a billion-dollar empire belongs to family, not some broke piano teacher. Michael stood calmly while holding up a folder. Actually, Henry Carter anticipated these accusations. He left written and video statements confirming Chloe's character and making it clear this decision was intentional. Contesting the will would be pointless. My father snatched the folder angrily and flipped through the pages. Fabricated, he spat. You think a judge will choose this over the word of his own son? That depends on the judge, a deep voice interrupted. Everyone turned as Judge Harrison stepped forward. And unfortunately for you, Richard, I happen to be one of them. Your father personally asked me to oversee any disputes. These documents and records are airtight. You will not win. The color drained from my father's face before anger quickly replaced the shock. He pointed directly at me. You ungrateful brat. You're destroying this family. I swallowed hard, my voice trembling but steady. No, that happened long ago when you chose money over love. My mother finally lost her composure. After everything we gave you, private schools, lessons, vacations, this is how you repay us? $7 billion belongs to the Carter family, not to you alone. Dorothy quietly stepped forward, carrying a small box. Actually, Mrs. Carter, your daughter belongs here more than anyone. She placed the box onto the table. These are journals your mother-in-law kept. Every visit, every demand, every kindness. They explain exactly why Henry made his decision. My mother froze as Dorothy handed the journals to Michael. He opened one page and read aloud. Richard demanded money again today. When we refused, he called us selfish. How Chloe arrived later with soup and stayed until Harold's fever finally broke. The room fell silent except for the sound of the fireplace. Suddenly, Ethan slammed both hands onto the table. Enough. Nobody cares about these stupid journals, Chloe. Just sign the transfer papers already. I need funding for my platform. Grandpa would have wanted me to succeed. Rosa's voice cut through the room sharply. He already gave you opportunities, Ethan. Multiple failed businesses, each one draining money. Your grandfather stopped supporting you for a reason, because you never earned it. Ethan's face turned bright red. He glared at me. You think you're better than me? You'll collapse under this pressure. Eventually, you'll come begging for help. I straightened my posture, confidence finally rising inside me. No, Ethan. For the first time, I'm not the one begging. My father exploded with anger, sweeping documents off the table and sending papers across the floor. This is nonsense. None of this changes the truth. That fortune belongs to me by right. By right? Judge Harrison's voice thundered across the room. Your father's will is the law. You have no legal claim, Richard? None. Then Robert stepped forward holding a USB drive. Mr. Carter had me install new security cameras last year. They captured something everyone should see. Michael connected the drive to Rosa's laptop. Video footage appeared on the screen. My father, mother, and Ethan were shown searching through drawers inside the mansion days after the funeral, stuffing jewelry and important documents into bags. My mother gasped. That's being taken out of context. At that moment, the local police chief, who had quietly entered through the back entrance earlier, stepped forward with crossed arms. Context won't matter in court. Theft is theft. You're very close to criminal charges. For the first time, my father hesitated. His confidence weakened and his shoulders sagged slightly. My mother's hands trembled. Ethan quietly cursed under his breath while stepping away from the screen. I finally found my moment. I'm done being afraid of you, I said firmly. Grandpa trusted me. You can threaten me, scream at me, or try to steal from me, but you will never take his legacy away. Silence filled the mansion. Then my father spoke again, his voice bitter and broken. If you continue down this path, Chloe, then you are no longer part of this family. I met his eyes without fear. You made that decision the moment you tried to destroy me. The mansion seemed to exhale as they turned one by one and stormed out. Their footsteps echoed through the marble halls before doors slammed and engines roared outside. I stood frozen, breathing heavily as my knees nearly gave out beneath me. Then I felt a hand rest gently on my shoulder. Michael's calm voice broke the silence. You did it. For the first time, you stood your ground. And for the first time, I believed him. The mansion became quiet after they left. Unnaturally quiet. No shouting, no threats, no footsteps echoing through the halls. Only the steady ticking of the grandfather clock and the soft crackle of the fire remained. I stood staring at the front door that had just closed behind my family. Oddly, I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. My chest ached as though the last small hope for reconciliation had finally disappeared. But then I thought about Grandpa. I could almost hear his voice beside me. Stand your ground, Chloe. Dignity can only be taken if you surrender it. And I realized I hadn't surrendered anything. The following days became a blur of meetings, paperwork, and major decisions. Michael guided me through every legal process. Rosa taught me about the company's operations. George explained investments and financial structures. Dorothy kept the mansion running smoothly. And Robert never left my side. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the overlooked daughter or invisible sibling anymore. I was the person everyone relied on. The person trusted with a legacy much larger than money itself. Still, it wasn't easy. My phone constantly filled with calls and messages from my parents and Ethan. Some were threats. We'll sue you until you're broke. Others tried emotional manipulation. We're still family, Chloe. Surely you'll share. And some came wrapped in fake kindness. Think about everything we sacrificed for you. I ignored every message. I had nothing left to say. Instead, I focused on honoring Grandpa's memory. 3 months later, the Henry Carter Foundation for Education and Community officially launched. We dedicated $2 billion towards scholarships, schools, and local community programs. I stood on stage during the opening ceremony while the foundation banner waved behind me. My hands shook slightly as I adjusted the microphone. This isn't just money, I told the crowd of students, teachers, and community members before me. It's a legacy. My grandfather believed in integrity, hard work, and giving opportunities to people who truly need them. Today, we continue that mission. Applause filled the room, and for once, I didn't shrink away from it. Life inside the mansion slowly changed. The halls that once felt lonely were now filled with warmth and conversation. On Sundays, I hosted dinners, not for my blood relatives, but for the people Grandpa trusted most. Michael, Rosa, Dorothy, Robert, and even company employees and their families gathered around the long oak table, laughing, sharing stories, and passing food around like a real family. Dorothy joked about my habit of burning dinner rolls. Rosa taught me how to make empanadas. Robert shared old stories about Grandpa's stubborn personality. And to everyone's surprise, Michael could actually play piano remarkably well. It was loud, imperfect, messy, and completely mine. One cool autumn morning, I drove alone to the cemetery. Golden leaves covered the ground around me. I carried a bouquet of white lilies, Grandpa's favorite flowers, and knelt beside his grave. For a long moment, I simply stared at the carved words on the stone. Henry Carter, 1935 to 2023, a legacy of integrity. Hi, Grandpa, I whispered softly, my voice catching. I hope you can see me. I hope you're proud. The wind moved gently through the trees as I took a deep breath. I'm trying my best. The foundation is helping children, hundreds of them. Some will become the first people in their families to attend college. Your employees are cared for. The company is still strong. I paused, smiling faintly through tears. And I think I finally understand. It was never really about the billions, was it? It was about the values behind them, about using wealth to build something meaningful instead of destroying people with it. Tears blurred my vision, but I kept smiling. I promise I'll continue carrying that forward. I won't waste your trust or your name. A strong breeze swept through the cemetery, scattering leaves around me. For a brief moment, it almost felt like an answer. That evening, I sat at the grand piano inside the mansion, my fingers moving gently across the keys. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt peace. Yes, my blood relatives had abandoned me. Yes, they tried to break me. But I wasn't broken. I had built something new, something stronger, a family built by choice and a purpose larger than myself. And I knew this was only the beginning, because the true inheritance was never the $7 billion sitting in accounts or investments. It was the fire inside me. The determination to live with integrity, protect what mattered, and carry forward the lessons of a man who was far more than a billionaire. He was my hero, my teacher, my safe place, my grandfather. And as I played the final note, the sound echoing softly through the mansion he once filled with laughter, I whispered into the silence, "I'll never let you down.